Okay. All right, I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Special Board meeting to order. Not yet. We got a minute. We'll give them a minute. Is Kendall on?
I didn't see him.
Okay.
He's preparing to join in the Zoom session.
He's not coming on this one?
Well, we're gonna go into closed set private after this. You know, you.
Okay, got you. That's right.
All right, special board meeting, May 12, 2021. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education special board meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the public record. Vice President Perry, Secretary Green,
Here. Perry is here.
okay. Vice President Perry is present. Secretary Green,
She here. She on mute.
I'm on mute. It don't say I'm on mute on my end.
Oh.
okay, present. Are you saying present, Ms. Green? Yes.
Yep.
Treasurer McIntyre,
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer McNeil,
Present.
Board Trustee Walker,
Present.
Board Trustee Wright,
Present.
and myself, Carol McIntosh. All members are present. At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. The public is reminded that you may raise your hand to speak. If you have submitted a comment in the chat section, please advise wish to speak. Also, anyone who sent an email prior to today's meeting will have that read. Members of the public are reminded that the Board of Education, by its bylaws 1370, are not obligated to answer questions, make statements or comments, and respond to issues raised by the public. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent for investigation, study, or recommendation. Public member Stephen will call your name before you are unmuted to speak. Please restate your name and address before you begin speaking. Stephen, do we have anyone that wishes to address the board?
Good afternoon, board. There's currently no public comments. I do have an email, but we will save that for the cow.
Okay. The public is reminded that you may submit your comments by email to FBOE@flintschools.org to have them read at the next meeting. Thank you. At this time, I seek a motion and a second to go into closed session pursuant to Section 8H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act to discuss material exempt from disclosure under state or federal law.
So moved.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we meet in a closed session. Board members, when I call upon your name, please say yes or no to go into closed session. Vice President Perry,
Yes.
Secretary Green, I think you might be muted, Secretary Green.
Not on my end.
Okay, I hear you now. So is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay, Treasurer McIntyre,
Yes.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer McNeil,
Yes.
Board Trustee Walker,
Yes.
Board Trustee Wright,
That's a yes.
okay, and myself, Carol McIntosh, yes. Board members, we are now going into your closed session. You must close, go to webinar, and go into the private Zoom invite that was emailed to you from Monica. Public members, we will return here after we come out of closed session to adjourn this special meeting for the board cow meeting to begin. Seeing there is no further action by the board, I declare this special board meeting. Oh, no, not yet. Okay, thank you. We're going to close session now. I would like to call the Flint Board of Education Board Committee of a Whole meeting to order. The time is 6:38. Board members, as I call your name, please reply present for the public record. Vice President Perry. Secretary Green.
Present.
Treasurer McIntyre.
Present.
Assistant Secretary Treasurer McNeil.
Present.
Board Trustee Walker.
Present.
Board Trustee Wright. And myself. Okay.
Vice President is here.
Okay. And myself, Carol McIntosh. Everyone is here. All right. At this time, the board will hear any comments from the public. The public is reminded that you may raise your hand to speak. If you have submitted a comment in the chat section, please advise if you wish to speak. Also, anyone who sent an email prior to today's meeting will have that read. Members of the public are reminded that the Board of Education, by its bylaws 1370, are not obligated to answer questions, make statements or comments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such issues will be referred to the superintendent for investigation, study, or recommendation. Public members, when Stephen calls your name before you are unmuted to speak, please restate your name and address before you begin speaking. Stephen, do we have anyone that wishes to address the board? Stephen? Maybe we didn't let Stephen get in here. Are we in the right meeting? I think we are.
We still got this closed session notice up, so Stephen usually takes that down, right?
Is it? I don't see one on my. Oh, the Community School Board of Education Board is currently in closed session. Oh,
It looks like he's a participant and not a panelist. That's weird.
are we having some issues? Let me see.
We got 16 staff on it, 22 attended, but I don't see Steve.
Steven's in the attending.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
But let's give him a chance to get where he needs to be. Or get our technicalities together. Okay, let me see if I can get in touch with Mo to see what's going on. Can you guys hear me? You can, okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna move ahead. They're trying to get in the meeting. Someone on with the technicalities where Stephen has gotten kicked out of the meeting. So next on our agenda is Attorney Van Warren from the Truan Law Firm. He is here to share some information with the board about the sale of school properties. Hello, is Mr. Van Warren in? Oh, we gotta have Stephen to let him in though. Okay.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My computer decided to freeze on me.
Technology.
Yeah. So we'll go back to this part then, Stephen. I went through the part. Stephen, are you equipped to be able to bring our public in? Do you see anybody?
I do have a hand. Well, I did. It looks like it just got put down. I do have a question. It looks like.
Okay.
They're just saying they do have a question, so I can pull them over. I apologize.
That's
in
okay.
advance. I'm just kind of scrambling. I had to go to a new computer while I reboot the other one.
Okay, we're waiting.
Remind him to take down the closed session
Fine.
PowerPoint, rather.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry about that. I'm almost there. All right. Okay. So I have Ashley here who would like to make a comment. So I will go ahead and unmute Ashley Young. Ashley, you are unmuted on my end. Feel free to unmute yourself and begin speaking whenever you are ready.
Got it. Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Young. My address is 3328 Flint, Michigan, 48504. And I'm not sure if you asked for a phone number, but if so, it is. And I simply came to this meeting as part of my tour day Genesee County School Districts, as I intend to attend quite frequently as many board meetings as I can. More specifically today, I would like to officially introduce myself as a candidate for the Genesee Intermediate Board of Education. I don't want to take up too much of your time. However, I imagine you will be or have received my notice of interest from Dr. Lisa Hagel. What I would like to offer is, in addition to the letter that I sent, there is a digital link. So if you're like me, I'm a systems nerd, self-proclaimed. I like to learn as much as I possibly can about people. So in addition to Googling me, if you want to search that way as well, if you click on that link, it will take you to a pretty extensive resume, as well as a digital portfolio with just samples of my experience. Thank you for having me here today. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my introduction.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. And we'll give someone another opportunity if need be. I do have an email comment I need to pull up real quick.
Okay.
Okay, this comment here is from Steve Lukes, sent May 6th, and it reads dumpster/paper retriever at Pierce School. This green and yellow paper retriever is located in the northeast corner of school parking lot. The school earned money for the collection of paper and magazines. The company servicing these dumpsters has not emptied them for over a year or more. Dumpster has been overflowing and on a windy day blows paper all over the neighborhood. I have repeatedly informed school officials of this problem. I am tired of cleaning my yard of papers. It would be best to move this paper retriever next to the school dumpster, or better yet, remove it completely. That is the end of the comments from the email. One quick look, and again, I apologize for the technical difficulties.
You're fine.
All right, that appears to be the end of public comment.
All right. The public is reminded that you may submit your comments by email to FBOE@flintschools.org to have them read at the next meeting. Thank you. Next on our agenda is Attorney Van Warren from the Truin Law Firm. He is here to share some information with the board about the sales of school properties. Hello and welcome, Mr. Van Warren.
I just sent him an unmute request.
Okay.
You have to unmute yourself there, Mr. Van Weren.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gordon Van Weren from the Troon Law Firm. I thank you for having me here tonight. By way of background, I have been with the Troon Law Firm for 37 years. I've worked with school districts all around the state of Michigan, including Grand Rapids Public Schools and Lansing School District, to dispose of surplus buildings and property. It's one of the areas that I specialize in. And again, I thank you for having me before you tonight. With regards to the properties and the buildings that the district currently has and is looking to dispose of, I'm very glad to report that my understanding is that there's no bonded debt on any of those properties or buildings. The board is to be commended with regards to the sale or disposition of real estate. If there is no bonded debt, it makes it much, much easier to sell property. With regards to Michigan law, if I can just take a very short period of time, Section 11A, 3 of the revised school code provides this Board of Education very broad authority to dispose or sell excess real estate and buildings. With regards to your district policy, I've reviewed it. It's very good. It provides broad discretion again to allow the board to take action to sell property. There are just a few limitations under Michigan law in terms of what districts must do. One is that districts must get fair value when they sell their property. To clarify, this does not mean fair market value, but the Attorney General in various court cases have opined that you cannot simply give your property away. Many properties around the state of Michigan that are owned by school districts have little, if any, with regards to buildings that may need substantial renovation and other things. Getting to what fair market value is sometimes is challenging. We just need to show that you're receiving fair value if you have an offer for property. There are a couple other limitations under law in terms of not putting deed restrictions that would restrict the property from being used for a education purpose. With regards to the procedure for disposing of property, this Board of Education has very broad authority to determine what methods it would choose to employ to sell or dispose of property. I've worked with school districts around the state that have used various methods, including bidding processes, listing property with real estate brokers, doing auctions, simply soliciting bids that may be out there. Oftentimes it depends on what the district or the Board of Education believes to be the value of property. Certain property, it makes more sense to perhaps list with a realtor or do a bid process. Certain of your properties, it's my understanding, there's excess vacant land, which based upon a particular property may generate more money if you do a property division and you split certain of the vacant property from the building. And so, again, I'm very glad to report to the board that this is one area of law that the Board of Education really has the authority to determine what's in the best interest of the district. I would be happy to answer any questions. I know that you have many properties that you're looking at selling. Certain of them have buildings, some are vacant land, some have leases on them. But I'm here to work with the board. We can obtain appraisals, not legally required, not required by your policy or Michigan law. Sometimes districts like to obtain appraisals to kind of get an idea of what the value of their properties are. You could break out the properties and obtain appraisals for certain of the properties if you choose, or all the properties. Again, it's to the discretion of this board to determine how best to proceed, and I'm here to assist you in any way I can. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you, Attorney Van Warren, for joining us. Now we'll turn the floor over to Superintendent Stewart to give us an update regarding the strategic plan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board members, I sent you an email on May 11th with some board updates. With the board updates, I included some information in regards to the strategic plan and where we are with the revisions to the strategic plan. In the month of April, we had 7 strategic plan revision sessions with different stakeholders ranging from staff, board members, scholars, community partners, parents, and the final one on April 29th with the quarterly partnership agreement team. We are currently in the process of taking all of the thoughts, ideas, feedback from those 7 sessions and considering them for revisions with our strategic plan. As of right now, our strategic plan, they're still in pieces. We're still pulling those pieces together. It is my plan to have a draft copy of the strategic plan to the board in June, and then to seek board approval in July. So that way board members will have it for at least a month before I seek approval from the board. That is an update of where we are with the strategic plan.
Okay. Thank you, Superintendent Stewart. I now turn the floor over to Trustee Wright for the Human Resources Committee of the whole meeting.
Okay, I would like to call the Human Resources Committee of the whole meeting to order. I will now call upon Mrs. Rubin to present action items to the board.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 1.8, the personnel recommendations, to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Our personnel, is this, yeah, I think I do. The personnel record, and we had this, this with Mr. Chapman with the 10, didn't we decide, wasn't he pink slip? Did we pink slip him with the APs last month? And if we separate him from that, then wouldn't we have to bring all those things back before the board? Because it was done in one, voted on in one.
I'm sorry, are you speaking of his resignation?
Yes, because I remembered in our last meeting.
No, you do not have to separate. If we move to move forward with the non-renewal, everything stands. He has essentially separated himself by tendering his resignation.
Okay. That's it for me. Any other questions from the board? Okay.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion to move action 1.9 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no.
Ms. Wright.
Yes.
Ms. Wright, what happened? You said 1.9. I think you meant 1.8.
Oh, I'm sorry. I moved too far down on my sheet. I'm sorry, 1.8. I apologize. So as I call your name, please say yes or no. Mrs. McNeil?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. McIntyre?
Yes.
You're McIntosh. I'm McIntyre.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was drifting.
Yes.
Ms. McIntosh?
McIntyre.
Ms. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mrs. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
and my vote is yes, so the motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Board Trustee Wright. I seek a motion to move action item 1.9, non-renewal of administrator employment contracts to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
I need a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, but my packet is missing 1.9. Am I the only one who goes from 1.8 to 1.10?
And no, I'm looking at mine now, and I don't know if I have 1.9.
I
And
don't
I
have
just want to make sure we know what 1.9 is gonna.
1.9 is the non-renewal of administrators' contracts.
Okay, I think we might need the paperwork on that. What do we table this until we can get proper paperwork on it?
So are you saying it's not in your board packet?
It is not.
Oh, okay. Is Mrs. Elston here? Or Mrs. Rubin, do you know why it's not in the board packet?
I do not know. It was submitted.
I don't know why I'm sorry, board, this is Monica. I don't know why it's not included. It's the same as last time. I can try to email it to you now so you can all see it electronically. Hold tight.
Okay.
It would be the same as the previous one minus Mr. Chapman's contract.
No, I'm sorry. We did not vote to remove his contract, so it will include his contract. It will include non-renewal of him in that position. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do we need to remove him before we submit it forward or vote on it?
No, we do not. He has omitted himself by submitting the resignation, but the record should still reflect that we went forward with the non-renewal because that is an item that we did not remove in the special board meeting.
Has everyone gotten the copy of the non-renewal document?
Let me go out and check. Hello? All right, or does everybody have it? Or should we go, I don't know. Ms. Wright, do you think we should, I don't know.
Well,
Not have it. Okay.
you know, if it's the exact same document and we haven't made any changes to it, I don't see any reason not to move forward, but you know, the decision is not just mine.
Well,
Well, the reason not to move forward with it is because we were still awaiting for documentation for Mr. Chapman's file to move
Well,
forward with it. So we don't
But
have,
if he has resigned, why would we need that?
and
well,
we can't,
moving forward with it. I'm not going to vote to move forward with it without the documentation.
point of order, he resigned, period. No matter what, he's out of here. So so at that point, which that kind of disqualifies him from what Ms. Rubin stated. Ms. Rubin, you did state his resignation automatically takes him out of that group, and what's left of the group is our APs that were included in our last meeting. Is that what I hear you saying to us?
And yes, ma'am, and the SID coordinator. Yes, President, Board President.
And can you tell us who the SIG coordinator is? Was that in there? Was that in the,
Now, you can't say it out loud.
We're not going by, well, I don't know. Are names listed in the document?
The name is in the document. Yes, it
Right.
is.
So this time, I guess you can use names.
right. So who would that have been, Ms. Rubin?
Cynthia Bell, her grant ends, and therefore we cannot continue her position. That's what we discussed in closed session.
Okay, and her position, can we say her position without being a violation?
SIG coordinator.
Oh, SIG coordinator, right.
Madam President, I just got the email.
Okay. Can the rest of the board members let me know once you've received that information?
I received it.
Okay. What about you, Ms. Green and Dr. Joyce? And
Yeah, I
Yeah.
received it.
what
I'm
about,
having some problems and I haven't gotten it yet.
okay,
I'm
what about
good as well.
Perry? Have you received it?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody has it except for Ms. Danielle?
Yep, just came in. Got it.
Okay. You can continue, Ms. Wright. Sorry.
Is there any further discussion regarding action item 1.9? Okay, seeing none, the vote is on the motion to approve action item 1.9, non-renewal of administrators. When I call your name, please say yes or no. Mrs. McNeil,
Yes.
Ms. Green, Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Motion passed. Oh, and Diana Wright, yes, the motion passes 7-0. Mrs. Rubin,
Thank you, Board Trustee Wright. I seek a motion and a second to move action item 1.10, authorization to renew insurance vendors agreements, First Agency and Lincoln Financial, to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
it has been properly moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Is there any oh, I'm sorry.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question as it
Yes,
pertains
ma'am.
to the full-time parapros that goes with the insurance piece. Yes. How many full-time pros do we have that actually how many parapros do we have that actually accumulate 30 hours per week since we've been in our pandemic state? How many of those do we have?
Ms. Rubin?
I do not have that information. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Okay, can you get back with me with that information, Ms. Rubin?
Yes, I will.
Thank you, ma'am. That's it for me.
Any further discussion?
Just bring me up to
Yes.
speed. What is this? What has to do? I'm not sure what this renewal insurance, what is this for?
First Agency, hold on.
Okay.
I want to pull up the actual document so that I can be more factual. I'm almost certain that First Agency is our student accident insurance. So if something happens to our students, they are insured. These practices are coming out of the risk management department. And Lincoln Financial is our long-term disability.
Okay. Makes
So when
sense.
we say authorization to renew insurance vendors
And life
agreement,
insurance.
talking plural insurance renewals?
Yes, there's two. First
Okay.
agency, first
Okay.
agency, the student accident insurance,
Oh,
and
okay.
Lincoln Financial is the second one. And it's actually our life insurance. I misspoke. I apologize. It's our life insurance.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have a point of discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item 1.10 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Mrs. McNeil. Mrs. McNeil,
Hold on. Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
and Diana Wright, yes. The motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Mrs. Rubin.
Thank you, board.
Did someone say something?
I said thank you, board.
Oh, okay, thanks. Seeing no further action, I declare the Human Resources Committee of the whole meeting adjourned. I now turn the floor over to Treasurer McIntyre for the Finance Committee of the whole portion of the agenda.
Okay, I would like to call the Finance and Operations Committee of the whole meeting to order. I will now call upon Mrs. Dumpre to present action to the board.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 11.6, authorization to extend lawn maintenance service contract to the regular board meeting on May 19, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
For a second.
Support. Support.
Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Green.
So by extending this contract, we're not going to do a new RFP for a new lawn service if we decide that we needed one or we choose to have one. We're not doing an RFP at all. It's just extending the service from the contract that we had before.
So we're extending the service right now from May 19th through November 1st. At that time, we can go out and do an RFP at that time. Because right now we don't have the time or the opportunity to do an RFP to have someone to do a lawn service for cutting the grass right now.
So in November, that's when we'll do RFP.
We can do it in November, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Walker.
Yeah, Ms. Murphy, I had a question for you. As it relates to their services, this is for all of our properties, correct? Just not the ones that are in current operations?
So yeah, this is Mrs. Dumpre, and yes, it is for all of our properties. It's for both vacant and the active properties.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ms. Dumpre. Sorry about that.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry.
Ms. McIntosh?
Yes, and Ms. Dumpre, I see the portion for the lawn is only till November of this year, but I see the funds will be made available during the fiscal year of 2021 and 2022. Is there any reason why it'll be spread out so far, or is it another piece to this? Is this including the cost of snow removal as well? I'm just trying to figure out how come the funds will be made available in the fiscal year, or is that because this is a new contract going from 2021 and the school year ends from 2021 to 2022? Is that why?
That is correct, because we only have 2 more months left in fiscal year 21, and then the July 1 will begin fiscal year 22, and they'll still be cutting grass through November.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it for me.
Ms. Dumpre, I have a question. What happens to the month that there was a lapse in the contract? Do we pay for services? Is there going to be some sort of makeup performance for the excessive grass? I mean, what happens with that gap?
So we don't have to pay for when they didn't provide services. And that was due to the fact that the contract wasn't ready for us to come to the board last month. So we're not paying for when they didn't provide service.
And just to reiterate, the reason why the contract didn't come before the board was because it wasn't ready on the part of the board or the part of the administration, or who wasn't it ready by?
It wasn't ready by the part of the vendor. They didn't give it to us in time for it to make it to the finance subcommittee meeting. It showed up the day after. And so we couldn't present it because we didn't have time to show it to the finance subcommittee meeting.
Thank you. I know I keep asking that question. I just want it's more for the public to understand. I know that there was some frustration perhaps with the state of the facilities and the lawn, given that it's Michigan and with all the excessive rain, we had that gap. So apologies to the public for that oversight that was beyond our control. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item 11.6 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Danielle Green,
Yes.
Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright,
Yes.
Carol McIntosh,
Yes.
and myself, Laura McIntyre, yes. The motion passes 7-0. Please continue, Mrs. Dumpre.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 11.7, authorization to execute memorandum of understanding with the Michigan Department of Treasury to the regular board meeting on May 19th, 2021 for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, McIntosh.
If we have not, we're in the middle of COVID and we know that we're going to be socially distanced for a while, because we don't know where we're going to come out of this thing. So that means we don't know if we haven't done, well, we don't know how many buildings we're going to need because we don't know how many spaces we're going to need for students. So if we get to making decisions to close buildings, and we might need those buildings because where we used to could put 25 to 30 students in a class, now we can only put 12 to 14 students in a class. How does that affect our school closures as it pertains to debt elimination and things of that nature?
So I'm trying to make sure I understand your question. When we do the assessment of the facilities, they can tell us the capacities of each building and how many students or how many classrooms a building can hold. And we can make the decision, the board can make the decision at the time as to which buildings they will choose to close once we have the information.
And
So we still need the information.
And how many buildings were to close after this, though, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. That's it for me.
Welcome.
Any other?
I just have a question. So we're saying that we are looking, we got some building that we're using now. We're gonna close some schools, some more schools. That's what we're saying. We're closing more schools. That's what this, oh, okay. I just want to make sure. Okay.
If I may, just to reiterate what we talked about in the finance subcommittee meeting, this is an MOU with the Treasury, with the MDE. It's a very specific MOU that Ms. Dumpre has worked very hard and diligently to secure grant financing for these particular assessments that we need desperately, that we've been looking for the past few months. And there's been delay, not on her part or the Treasury's. It's just, it's just the way that the things work out. But we're able to get these assessments. I don't want to say free of charge, but covered. They don't have to come from our budget. And we will have the building assessment, the program assessment, the student count, and things of that nature that then we can use. So it'll be up-to-date data. It'll be more robust data that we can then use to start looking and making these hard decisions. So the MOU is strictly to guide that process. And so I just want to make it really clear, this isn't, it doesn't have anything to do with anything else with the Treasury or MDE or the other MOU with community partners. I don't want there to be any mistake about that. This is for these particular assessments so that we can be better informed as a board, and then we can go and look at the budget deficit elimination plan that we have with the state and all that kind of stuff. But this just gives us extra information that's paid for by somebody else.
Okay, thank you so much, McIntyre.
Ms. McIntosh?
And I'm glad you cleared that up, because that brings me to my original question when I was reading the document. It said, if I'm not mistaken, it was a $49,000 grant. Now, does that cover all the assessments to all the buildings? Is there going to be some runover costs that we foresee? If there is going to be some additional expenses, do we know what those expenses are going to be, Ms. Dumpre?
So it is for $48,000, and those are the charges that Plant Moran Cressa said it would cost for those services, and it's supposed to cover the services entirely. We are not aware of any additional runover costs or anything that you just mentioned.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. That's it for me.
Anyone else? And I would just like to say in closing, before we finish this up, that kudos to Mrs. Dumpre for, like I said, her hard work and her diligence in securing the funds for this. And I know it's been a frustrating process that we wished would have gone quicker, but it's through no fault of her own or anybody on the boards, and I appreciate all that she has done. So, seeing that there's no further discussion, the motion to move action item 11.7 to the regular meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Danielle Green.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's
Joyce McNeil.
Yes.
Vera Perry.
Yes.
Adrian Walker.
Yes.
Diana Wright. Ms. Wright, she's still here?
It appears she's no longer in the meeting.
Okay, that's a no. Is that a no?
that was not a no.
It's an absent. Okay, sorry about that. As an absent for Ms. Wright. Carol McIntosh?
Yes, it's a yes for me.
And myself, Laura McIntyre, yes. The motion passes by a vote of 6 absent. Thank you, Mrs. Dumpre. Seeing no further.
Wait, point of clarity, just want to make sure you restate that vote again. It's 6-0, correct?
6-0. Sorry about that.
No problem.
6-0. Thank you. Seeing no further action, I declare the Finance and Operations Committee of the Whole meeting adjourned. I now turn the floor over to President McIntosh for the Board Committee of the Whole portion of the agenda.
At this time, I will call upon Superintendent Stewart to present action items to the board.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.23, Genesee Intermediate School District Budget Review and Approval 21-22 to the regular meeting on May 19th for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, board members, Monica inserted the resolution the board adopted last year into our packet. Let's discuss whether or not we agree to the wording of the resolution. We can adjust accordingly now. And let me find that portion. That is 2023. Is that proper mode 2023?
That's correct. It would be page 52 of your packet.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Also, President McIntosh, you did attend the hearing on April 28th. If there's anything in addition you would like to add for your board members, that's up to you.
Okay. I did attend that, and I just wanted to say it was nice, and they offered a lot of things in the budget hearing as far as transportation. I gave the board packets of that information, so you had the same information that I received at the meeting available to you. So at this time, I'd like to give you the opportunity to deal with those things while Ms. Stewart has our attention on those action items.
I'd like to ask about our pre-K and early childhood programs and why they're still under the jurisdiction of GISD.
Do we know anything about Stewart?
A few years ago, and I was a principal at Freeman when it happened, so I don't have all of the history behind it. It had something to do with one of the governors turned the funding over to GISD, and now the funding flows straight through GISD and it doesn't come to Flint. I'm not sure. I don't recall exactly which governor it was under, but that happened with several of the several school districts within the state of Michigan. I can do more research and get more information back to you, but I do recall that happened, and I believe it was under, was it Governor Engler? I'm not sure, but it was under one of the governors. Changed the, I'm sorry, Ms. Board Member Green?
Engler. It was Engler.
Okay, yes. And it has been that way since. We have not had a governor to change it back yet.
Okay, good work, Superintendent Stewart. Is there any other discussion?
That's something that I think really needs further scrutiny and attention, and thank you for that, Superintendent. I think that when you look closer, that you'll find that the funding was taken away disproportionately from more urban areas, or areas that had a larger percentage of a Black population. I'd really like to look into the racial inequity of that kind of decision making, and see if there's anything that we can do to bring some autonomy back to our district. As we know, early childhood education, pre-K education is I don't want to say easier to do, because it has its different challenges, but if you look at the cost per pupil, it is something that is what would be the word for it? It's more beneficial financially. You know, it's easier to do financially, I guess is the thing. It's much harder to provide services in high school grades and to make a profit off of it. And so I think that our district is capable of handling our own business. And so I'd like to see what we can do to sort of bring that back around. To see what the possibilities are, for serving ourselves, I guess, if that sort of makes sense. I'm not sure that anything can be done, but I know that it is something that has been brought up in the community and been brought up at GISD meetings, about the fact that we have outsiders who are controlling our finances in a very lucrative way to themselves. Our pre-K programs, which I know we have expertise, we have local expertise. I just find it confounding that decision was made, and it continues just to be that's the way it is. You know what I'm saying? I think it's wrong, and it's something that needs to be rectified, and I don't know if the board can do anything about it, but I'd certainly like to see us try.
I'm in the middle of a board meeting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Also, I had another question about the special education funding piece. I know that there have been a lot of moving pieces with that, judgments from the courts and lawsuits and such. And so I guess I'd like more information about, that formula, and if it's been rectified to our satisfaction. I guess that's all I want to say about that. It's just something that I'd like to, us to not just, vote and rubber stamp this, but to have a closer look and an understanding, and make sure that it's what we need, given that our population has special education challenges, with the dramatic increase that we've had over the past couple of years with our special education population. The challenges that we're facing getting our students seen through the NCE. I can't remember what the NCE stands for, though, at the Neuropsychological Center for Excellence or something. Yeah. And the fact that we're still dealing with a water crisis and a neurological toxin, and the effects of that on our population. So it's just something that I just want to make sure that we're very careful before we just sort of pass this on through and let somebody else. I know the county is of us, but we still are Flint, and we have our distinct challenges and strengths as well.
Is there?
Yes, I would like to chime in what Ms. McIntyre just said. I just think that 21.23 would be a lot easier if we had some type of presentation and discussion on it. Because when we look at GISD, it has not been very friendly with the Flint Community Schools. And then all of a sudden to see this budget out here and this approval, I just think that we as a board as a whole really need to have some serious conversation when it comes to GISD. Nothing against the Ms. Dupree or superintendent. It's just that we are representing the community, and we know that GISD is not gracious and kind to Flint Community School District.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.23 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil.
No.
Danielle Green. Laura McIntyre.
Sorry, I didn't hear Danielle or Ms. Green's.
I
She's,
said,
you have a yes and a no.
No.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright, Diana Wright. Okay.
Mrs. Wright is no longer in the meeting.
Okay. Wow. And myself, and before I vote, and I probably shouldn't do this because we're in the middle of voting, but I have a question for the superintendent, because superintendent, exactly what can we do since this has been mandated already by the government? You know, what would be, we don't have a recourse in this situation, do we?
Board President, I'm sorry, this item I don't have any information on. I know that, and I'm not sure if anything was said in the meeting that you attended, but unfortunately, I didn't participate in this piece, and I don't have much information on this piece.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
just
the
seeking
portion,
approval.
okay, the portion that I get you, Ms. Green, the portion that I attended, it said that these were for us to receive services for transportation, special needs, and things of that nature. So I just wanted the board to be clear on what this actually is. It's a it's GISD giving us our portion because they have received those funds on our behalf. So this is GISD giving us our portion of the services for the monies that they're receiving on behalf of us. So with that being said, I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you for that clarity, Board President.
So the motion passes 4 yes, 2 no, and 1 person absent. And this is to get it to on the agenda at the meeting for the 19th. This is not a go vote. This is not a no-go vote. This is just to say we're discussing it at our next meeting. I want to make that clear. And that gives us the opportunity to look over the packets that were given to us and come back with a more informed decision for the meeting next week. Okay.
That's just what I was thinking is
Oh,
what I wanted to say.
sorry, Ms. Green.
No, that's okay. I'm fine.
Okay.
And I thank you for that, Kara, because that's what you know, you left it so vague. You guys have to remember that you got other people not inside of your head or inside of your meetings. And so it just need a little clarity when you're talking about these things, because when you only certain people in certain places at certain time, then when you bring it before the board, it creates these type of conversation. So I'm glad that you kind of opened up a little, and because it looked like it was some type of secret, but I'm glad you was willing to share it so we can get some information. I would have voted different if I had knew what you was actually trying to get to. Thanks.
And I understood that. That's why I took the discussion further, even though we were in the middle of a vote, because I know where you ladies' hearts are at. So I just wanted to give you the information as I knew it. Please continue, Superintendent Stewart.
Yes, ma'am. I seek your approval to move action item 21.24, consider designation of electoral representatives for the GISD election on June 7th to the regular board meeting.
And you're on item 21.4. Yes.
Yes.
Has it been moved? It has not been moved. Okay, so do we have anybody to move that and second it?
So moved. So moved. And I believe Ms. Green said she seconded, if I read her lips correctly. All right. All right.
Okay. Is there any discussion as it pertains to item 21.24? No discussion?
President
Okay.
McIntosh,
Yes.
There's a note in that we must appoint or designate a representative and an alternate to attend the meeting on
Yes.
June.
I hadn't got to that portion. That was next. First, say my thing here. After it says no discussion, then it says we must designate a representative and an alternate to attend the biannual election on June 7, 2021 at 6:00 p.m. Is there anyone that wishes to volunteer? No volunteers?
I volunteer.
Okay, we have Laura Tyer, and did I hear Mr. Walker volunteer?
I'll serve as an alternative.
Okay, so we have, can you keep that for the record, Mo? We have Laura McIntyre volunteering and Mr. Adrian Walker as the alternate. Okay. Is there any discussion concerning this matter? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 2124 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green, Miss Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Miss Vera Perry,
Yes.
Mr. Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Miss Diana Wright is not here, and myself, Carol McIntosh. This motion passes 6 yes, no no's. Please continue, Superintendent Stewart.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.25, designation of representative and selection of candidates for GISD election, to the regular board meeting on May 19th.
You said on May 9th.
I seek your approval to move it to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
Okay. It has been, did I get a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Mr. Walker moved it, and who seconded? Miss Green? Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing there is no further discussion, board members, the representatives and alternates we just appointed will submit votes on behalf of this board at the GISD biannual election on June 7th for 2 candidates. The candidates' names will not be given to us until Monday, May 17th. Ms. Elston will email us the names prior to our regular meeting on May 19th, where we will decide as a board who the representatives and or alternate will be voted for this school district. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.25 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green,
Yes.
Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wright is absent, and myself, Carol McIntosh. The motion passes 6-0 with 1 person absent. Okay. Please continue, Superintendent Stewart.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.26 to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.26 to the regular board meeting for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. As I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green, Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
Diana Wright is not here, and myself, Carol McIntosh. It's a yes for me, and the vote passes 6 yes, 1 absent. Please continue, Superintendent Stewart.
I seek your approval to move action item 21.27 to the regular board meeting on May 21st for board adoption. Is it May 21st or May 19th?
I think it's May 19th.
Mine was-
Yeah,
Okay. I was gonna say, have I been saying the wrong date? Thank you. To the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption. Sorry.
okay.
Support.
Who moved it?
I ain't hear no moving it.
We need somebody to move it before.
So
So
moved.
moved.
So who's supporting?
Support.
Okay, so we have it moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 21.27 to the regular board for adoption will be conducted by a roll call vote. And as I call your name, please say yes or no to approve. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Danielle Green. You said yes, Ms. Green?
I'm sorry, y'all. Yes.
Okay, Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Vera Perry,
Yes.
Adrian Walker,
Yes.
and myself, it's a yes for me. It motion passes 6 and 1 absent. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. I now turn the floor over to Secretary Green for the Academics Committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you, President McIntosh. I would like to call the Academics Committee of the whole meeting to order. Mr. Jones is on vacation. He has requested that Mrs. Stewart present items to the board on his behalf. Therefore, I will now call upon Mrs. Stewart to present.
I seek a motion and a second to move action item 25.12, authorization to implement testing out credit option to the regular board meeting on May 19th.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? None. The motion is to move action item 25.12 to the regular board meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Ms. Joyce McNeil,
Yes.
Ms. Laura McIntyre,
Yes.
Ms. Vera Perry, Ms. Perry, and Mr. Walker.
Miss Perry is not here as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walker,
Yes. Yes.
right, who's left the meeting. Mrs. President McIntosh?
Yes, for me. Yes.
Yes, motion is 5-0.
I seek. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. No, that's not it. Wait.
25-13.
Mhm.
Okay, wait. I seek your approval to move action item 25.13 to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
So moved.
Support.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
President McIntosh?
And forgive me, Superintendent Stewart, I see we have indirect cost of $350,224. And exactly what it might be numbered in here somewhere, but what is the indirect cost? Can you explain to me what that is? Do you know?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to defer to Ms. Murphy. Ms. Murphy, can you assist with that question, please?
Absolutely. Good evening, board. So with grants, with many other grants, especially federal grants, they assume that the district is going to incur charges to implement these programs. So the indirect costs are costs that the district incurred that may not be able to be fully calculated. So for instance, like with Title I, we receive indirect funds because, for instance, if we were not offering Title I programs such as intercession, our buildings wouldn't be open. So we can use an indirect cost to offset some of our expenses, like the electricity, like the purchasing of things of that nature. So those are the costs that are associated with us implementing grant programs. So each grant usually has an indirect cost cap or percentage. And so that is what that indirect cost represents. So we needed to bring in additional assistance with accountants or staff to help implement grants, that we could use that those funds there as indirect costs. So it acknowledges that it's a burden on the district at times to implement grant programs.
Okay. And all of these are our funded applications in this section. This is all talking grant dollars, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, thank you. No more questions for me.
Is any more discussion?
No,
Seeing-
thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just said thank you for explaining that. Thanks.
Seeing none, the motion is to move action item 25.13 to the regular meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please reply yes or no to approve. Dr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Perry, who's left the meeting, and myself, Danielle Green. Motion passes 5-0.
I seek your approval to move action item 25.14 to the regular board meeting on May 19th for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
President McIntosh?
What page is that on so I can look at? I didn't realize our numbers. What page are you looking at? Does anybody know what page that is offhand so I can get there and make sure?
It starts on page 104.
Okay, make sure I'm voting on the right thing. Oh, boy,
We are on 25.14, right?
Yes.
14?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
our page, some of the things were kind of jogged around, so I'm trying to make sure I'm okay. Let's see.
Can we have just a little info on that for the public so they can understand what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll defer to Ms. Murphy. Ms. Murphy, can you assist with that?
Absolutely. This grant is our Section 31A funds that we receive from the state of Michigan to serve our at-risk pupils. And so these are students who have been identified as at risk with having more than one at-risk factor. We are bringing this grant amendment back to you because we wanted to expand some of the summer offerings for students. And so we needed to amend this budget to make sure that we could have expanded learning opportunities for the summer. So that's what these funds support.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, again, I question why we are continuing to support police in the school. I mean, I know that they're called safety advocates, and I just, you know, I'm tired of using euphemisms to describe what, you know, is actually taking place. I mean, everyone knows where I stand. You know, I'm you know, personally an abolitionist. I know that I'm just one board member, but I mean, I was elected, I think, in large part because of my stand on policing in schools and the school to prison pipeline. And so there's a line item in here about contracted services for safety advocates that's $350,000. And I just feel that safety and services can be better, like the dollars can be better spent. You know, it says this is to support a positive climate and culture in all district schools. And I don't see so-called safety advocates or police as fostering positive culture. And I know that many other people in the community feel the same way. And I know many people don't feel the same way. I know it's a contentious issue, but I just want to state for the record that I don't, I am adamantly against policing in schools in the school to prison pipeline. I think that there are other options that we can do and that we should be, especially a big chunk. We're spending $33,000 on anti-bullying posters. I'm not really excited about that either, but I just think that there's just so many other community positive things and programs and mindsets and attitudes to support besides these type of things. So it looks like this is a done deal. I'm not going to vote no about moving this forward, but I just want to state for the record that I don't think this is moving us in the right direction. And I think in the future, we might want to have more proactive discussions about how these dollars get spent that actually support our students, our scholars, our families in non-military, non-policing, non-totalitarian fascist ways. So that's, I guess, my question about those line items. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion?
No, I just think we should take Laura McIntyre comment to look at in the future. I'm not gonna vote no on it, but we need to look at a different way how we are using policing for our kid on our children, and we got to start to get them to look at it different. But I'm agree with Laura McIntyre. This is a hard pill to swallow, but I'm gonna vote yes. So.
Yeah, I just want to add, absolutely, I see what Laura's saying, and I do understand, but on the other end, it's our responsibility to keep our staff and students. So proactively moving forward, alternatives are needed. I absolutely agree with that. And I think we need, because you're passionate about this, you've mentioned it several times, Laura. So we need to have further conversation, not just, we have to pass it. We have to, in my opinion. But we do need to come up with some different solutions, some proactive things to move forward in a more positive way. I do agree 100%, absolutely. Anybody else, any more discussion? Seeing none, the motion to move action item 25.14 to the regular board meeting for adoption. I will conduct a roll call vote. As I say your name, please reply yes or no. Mrs. McIntyre,
Yes.
Dr. McNeil,
Yes.
Ms. Perry, who has left the meeting, Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mrs. Wright, who has left the meeting, President McIntosh,
Yes.
myself, Danielle Green, yes. Motion passes 5-0. In your packet is information item 26.9, senior activities. Do any board members have any questions for Mr. Jones is not here. So I guess it would be Mrs. Stewart. That Miss Murphy can take back to him. Oh, that Miss Murphy can take back to Mr. Jones for a response. Did you guys get that about the senior activities in the email? Is there any questions about that?
About the pictures and stuff, right?
I guess anything in that, because I didn't get to read it yet, so I don't know. I didn't see it yet.
Board Member Green, it's on the back of your packet, the very last page.
Okay.
Senior pictures, Wednesday, April 21st. Cap and gown distribution, Thursday, May 20th. Graduation, June 2nd. Dinner gift cards for seniors due to COVID and not having a prom.
Wow.
Yeah. Any more discussion, guys?
Yeah, I'd like to say something because I have asked Mo about this, and I know Mo's overwhelmed about the board taking their pictures. I was wondering, is there any kind of instance we should be dressed up or whatever for graduation anyway? Is there any way we can get our board pictures taken also as well, maybe by this same company, or while we're addressing these issues, get a 2-for-1 possibly? Can we look into that, Superintendent Stewart or Mo, or can we put that together possibly? Sorry to be all off track like this, guys, but it just hit me
That's all right.
that we hadn't done that, and we have several new board members. I think it's only fair to consider.
Hi, Superintendent Stewart and President McIntosh. I am well aware of the request for photos, and I've been seeking assistance from Mr. Jones because he knows a photographer. And so he said he would assist us and get that taken care of. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's see if we can piggyback off this and maybe we can roll in there. It's only 7 of us, so see if we can squeeze 7 more people in there for that nice school picture or something. But I'm looking forward to that. So I'm sorry for getting off track, Ms. Green. I'm out your business. Go ahead.
Mr. Walker?
Hey, Ms. Green, I just have a comment, and I think it's a correction because in our packet it says April 21st, but I wonder should that say May 21st for the senior pictures?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it's gone.
Hey.
I will follow up with Mr. Jones. I know that they're doing, that they have been doing appointments. So I could assume that appointments probably started on May 21st, and maybe they had 2 or 3 different days set up. But I will follow up with Mr. Jones and get that information back to you.
Ms. McIntyre?
I'm done.
I just wanted to say, just a shout out to this class that's 66, you guys, 66 graduates. I mean, I'm so proud and so excited for our graduates, but on the other hand, 66 Flint Community School grad. I can't believe that that's the number that we're down to. If that's not a clarion call for us to wake up, I don't know what is. You know, it's like that's just, I can't believe that Flint, Michigan only has 66 high school graduates this year. So I just wanted to, you know, I'm kind of speechless. You know, that's just such a low number. It's just staggering to me. So yeah, I'd like to just do, you know, anything and everything we can for our graduates to let them know, you know, how important and cherished they are.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. Dr. McDaniel, do you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm fine.
I just want to say congratulations early to the 66.
Yes.
Good job. I salute you. I won't be there. It's my J-Man's birthday. I'll be out of town. But I want to say congratulations, and I'm there in spirit, and I wish you all the best. And I thank the staff for going above and beyond and being creative, coming up with some ideas for our students who absolutely deserve it. And unfortunately, you know, prom, that's devastating.
Yes,
you know,
it is. Yeah.
that would have killed me as a mother. But unfortunately, you know, it's just, it is what it is. But we're doing what we can to accommodate them in spite of. So I want to say good job to everybody.
I just want to say one more thing. Is if it's anything that I can do to make sure that our senior have a great time doing their graduation, just call on me, because we're just going to have, even though it's 66, but it's 66 that made it. So, and then we just want to show them how much we appreciate them. And this board member, when it comes to something like that, I go way out of my way and beyond. So if you need me, just call me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. McGill. Mr. Walker?
Yeah, I was just going to echo everyone's sentiment, but also say recently I had a chance to sit in on some of the senior exit presentations. And again, I know we only have 66, but I was really encouraged by not only what has been able to been accomplished over their course of the high school careers, but also some of the plans as they move forward. Like, I'm really, really encouraged about what that means for our school district, for the alums, and just for them as they continue to move forward. So again, hats off, and want to congratulate them as well.
Thank you, sir.
Board Member Green, the April 21st date is correct.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I just want to make sure, you know, it's a lot of dates you threw out there, and I want to make sure that families in the community have access to those dates. Those are online for everything that you mentioned, just to make sure that they're getting the information.
And I want to say thank you, Trustee Walker, for going to those exit interviews. I really wished I could have been at each and every exit interview. It's my the time constraints. So thank you so much for being there for us. Yeah, I just
Yeah, it
make
was
a
really,
good,
yeah, it
yeah,
was
I
really.
know. So yeah, I wanted to be there.
I get it.
So again, Superintendent, are those dates online so families and students can access those just for their convenience?
I'm sorry, Board Member Green. I thought you were making a statement. I didn't realize that you were making a question. Okay, I'm sorry.
Requirement that they can get them online just in case they miss something in the meeting.
Okay, I will make sure that we have that accessible to our families. I do know that one of the principals just sent me a text and said April 21st was the correct date, and so they have been communicating with their families. They have been sending out robocalls. They have been sending out letters. And the information is visible on the senior platforms that they have for their families. And so if there are other ways that we can get that information out to the families, even with using Lambert, we will definitely make sure to do so.
Thank you so much. And families have been getting them because I've been hearing about it. So that's good. Good job, guys. So seeing no further action, I declare the Academics Committee of the whole meeting adjourned. I now turn the floor over to President McIntosh for the rest of the agenda.
Before we adjourn, does any other board members have any comments? Okay, our next board meeting, go ahead,
Well,
Ms.
I do. I just wanted to, I don't know if this is like supposed to be from remarks from individual board members or announcements, but you guys are all super young and youthful. So I don't know if anyone remembers Robert Van Dett, Mr. Van Dett, who was an administrator at Schools of Choice way back when my dad was teaching with Ed Thorne, Vera Bagrakis. Well, Mr. Van Dett, Robert, passed away on the 6th at the age of 90, and I just wanted to. He was a graduate from Central High School. He was also a vice principal at Central High School, and like I said, then went on and was an administrator at Schools of Choice when it was an excellent alternative school. And he left quite an impression on many students, myself included. And I just wanted to tip my hat to Bob Van Dett and his contribution to the Flint Community Schools. Rest in power, Bob.
All right. Our next regular, is there any other comments? Okay. Our next regular board meeting will be held on Wednesday, May 19th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Seeing there is no further action, I declare the board committee of a whole meeting adjourned and the time is 8:06. Good night, everybody.
Safe, everybody.
Yes, bye-bye.